If you like what you see on the channel, please take a second and hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It really helps supporting the channel, and I can put out new content at least once a week.
So I had to think about exactly how I was going to handle this. I think the best course of action, since this is going to be a conservation book, this is the flap that unfortunately has this little fold in it right here. It was compressed and then it was cut. So if we take this fold out, it's going to make the page longer on this edge. But I think all things being equal, I think that's the best choice for this particular page. So with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and do exactly that. And then there is this Siamese page issue. Let me get to that really quick if I can. And this was the real troubling one. Okay, let me separate this wrap over here. So with this, we had as you saw in the previous video, we had this tear right here, which we saw. And then when we fold it over, we have the other side of the tear, but there's this piece attached. What this is called is a Siamese page. It was bonded to the page over here at the top. However, it was miscut when it came out of the factory. So the question was, what am I going to do? And I have made a decision that since this is going to be a conservative book, is I'm going to go ahead and carefully detach it as it was meant to be and reattach it to the proper page. So what we're going to do is detaching it will be the last thing done after the deacidification, and then we'll go ahead and flatten it, measure everything correctly, and use a very good straight edge, and we are going to separate that piece and reattach it over to this side. Okay, we've got our first wrap in the tray right now. This is the wrap that has the weird folded edge that we are going to remove. So I've got this wrap spine side up in the tray with the Hollytex paper, and I'm going to cover it with another sheet of Hollytex. And then we have our solution of calcium hydroxide. This particular solution is a 20% solution, so it'll be nice and gentle. So we're going to deacidify this wrap, and then we're going to take and very gently try to roll out this paper that got folded. So you've seen me do this in my other videos. So I'm going to hold down the spine and we'll rapidly pour this onto the paper and let it soak in. Okay, that looks really good. Go ahead and spread this around a bit. And you can already see how this is soaking in really well. And we're going to go ahead and roll this around and clean it for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this overhead light off. I think it's kind of unnecessary. There we go. So this is a little bit easier to see. In case you didn't guess, it is nighttime that I'm doing this. Alright, so we'll continue to roll this around for about 5 minutes. And that should sufficiently clean off any of the tanning and will treat the paper and deacidify it, as I said, and it will leave behind an acid-free sheet. Now we're going to do this to every one of the wraps in this book, and there's a lot of wraps in this book. It's necessary so we have a consistent color in the paper all the way through. All right, and I'm not going to bore you with all of this parts. I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera for a little bit, and we'll come back when we're ready. I'll keep on rolling. So I got to thinking about this before we go crazy and really get it cleaned and soaked. I want to get this, I think I want to get this flap folded out first. So we're going to go ahead and flip this around. So grab the whole thing, because the compressed fold is actually on this side. So let's get this back submerged again. And you notice I keep this inside both sheets of the Hollytex. Now, while it's submerged, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back a little bit. Take a look at this fold here and see if we can gently push down. I'm feeling for the ridge. Now you can see a visible line here, and that's just for being compressed for it's World War II, almost 80 years it's been folded this way, and we're just now unfolding it. So we're going to be very gentle with it. Fold it out nicely. And the way we're going to trim this ultimately will be, I'm going to take the adjoining pages and we use those as guidelines. And when we trim this edge properly, it'll match up with those. Okay, so I'm happy with this. This is folded out nicely. I can use a little bit of force here now that I got the Hollytex back down. And hopefully this line will go away. All right, let's go ahead and continue rolling this around, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so we've got this done. I'm pleasantly pleased that there's not a lot of discoloration in the fluid. That means there is not a lot of tannins that needed to come off the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this out off screen. As you can see, it's very, very pale, so I'm happy with that. So no deep cleaning for this. So let's pour it off, and then we'll go ahead and treat this with, well, it's not treating it, we're going to dry it off with paper towels. And once we have that done, then we'll go ahead and move it over to the press, and we'll dry it under heat and pressure together. That way we can keep the wrap. Don't worry, it is going to get rehumidified, and it is going to make a trip into the blue light chamber. And we will pick this video back up tomorrow after it's all been done. And if you're wondering what my blue light chamber looks like, you can check my other videos, in particular the one that I do a budget wet cleaning. You can see the blue light chamber and the humidity chambers. They're homemade, and that'll be helpful for you to learn on this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is dry this off. And I'm going to go ahead and use just simple paper towels. Now this will stay in the Hollytex because we want to keep it protected, because as you know, our motto here is wet paper is weak paper. And I can't really claim credit for that. I give that full credit to Rick Morgan at Immaculate Comics. And if you haven't come across Rick's videos, I recommend you visit them. He is very well versed in a lot of the techniques that we're doing, and he has a wonderful a line of tools that are very helpful in comic book conservation. Now, as you notice, there is a sheen here. That is the Hollytex. It looks very faded, but not to worry. It is perfectly fine underneath. So, I don't have all of my usual paper towels handy, so I am using some fresh ones off the roll. Okay, and this is soaking up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and flip this. And we'll finish this out. And like I said, we'll move everything over to the heat press. And I'll give you a shot of that. I picked up a heat press at a yard sale of all places. And I was quite happy with what I got. And I'll show it to you here shortly. Okay, so this is soaking up nicely. I try to keep this as best I can to soak everything up. All right. I think we're in good shape. So I'm going to put another set of paper towels on, and that will be the paper towels that the heat press will carry for us. And if things go well, this will be nice and tight and dry. That's the old one. Okay, now this one's ready for the heat press. Okay, so it did 10 minutes in the heat press. It was a new heat press, so I had to check it out, so I want to take everything slowly. So now we have our page, our wrap. I'll take this out, I'll leave it on the bottom piece of Hollytex, and we'll take a look at it here. Now, you may ask, why did I go ahead and dry it in this method? Well, ultimately we're going to do all the wraps, and this one has no need of any repairs. So it's been pressed flat, which is the way we want it. We can re-roll this when we get ready for the reassembly. Now it is a bit wrinkled up, you say. Okay, well the reason I'm doing this is because this wrap is going to go into the blue light chamber now. And when it does that, the paper is going to contract a little bit, and we'll let it do 3 hours under the blue lights, 3 hours of dwell, then another 3 hours under the blue light. And then it'll be rehumidified, and this time it'll get its final press prior to reassembly, and we'll set this off to the side. Now, as for the part that we were wondering about, it has been pressed flat. Here's our edge right there. Yeah, you notice it's the width right here. It's about a ½ inch. It's nice and safe, but this is not that same ½ inch print. It should, in fact, there's a little notch right here. Let me hold this up so you can see it. It's where it was probably originally cut and originally meant to be aligned. So let me hold this up here. There you go. You see that right where this line is? It should have probably been trimmed that way. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to use another wrap to finish up the trimming, and it will probably be during the final reassembly of the book before we do any of that trimming. And we'll move on to that other wrap that is known to be a problem. So, all right, we'll go ahead and move this to the blue light chamber, and we'll adjourn until tomorrow, and we'll pick it up there.
In our next chapter, we are going to show the results of the page being folded out, and then we are also going to reattach the Siamese pages and trim them as they originally meant to be. Please join me. And as always, if you like what you see here at the channel, please like and subscribe. I try to put out a video at least once a week that's supposed to be educational and to help you conserve your comics and make your collection last for years to come.